which is okay, but it's better to have it pre-measured. Thank you. So that's what I do. That's my miracle mix. So remember what I said? I put first the liquid. There you go. I'm gonna do a pisco sour here.
Oh yeah, you do.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, send me. I'll put it on the.
Put 1 and 2. So I mix the liquid first,
Send it to me, all right? I'll put
right
it-
there,
I'll put it.
and that should be enough.
See the texture?
Right? So then after this, I can do two things. I can pick it up and put it in a small dapping dish, or I just can cover with something.
What does covering do?
The covering, what it does is prevents for the excess of monomer to escape, so it helps you to the reaction. It's
We're
better.
not allowed to use hand cell when doing the computer.
Well, don't use your cell phone, right? What are you gonna use?
That's okay. We can use the cell phone right now.
All right, my cell phone. Now, other things you can do, if you can just pick it up the whole thing and put it in a dapping dish and wait. But normally, I like to cover right there and wait. In the meanwhile, I have this matrix, which is gonna Vaseline this.
You could use this to cover.
Even better. Smart. So, what is the diapodon? Here's the diapodon. I'm gonna put this guy away. Here's the diapodon. I got a tooth here, and the tooth here is gonna help me to, you know what I mean? It's gonna help me to stabilize this one. All I need to do now is put finger here, and buccal and lingual. That's what I do. 2 fingers here, buccal and lingual, and the occlusal stops. I'm upset. All right? So, check this mix.
No, we're missing your mold.
You lift it, and it gets a little stringy like this. You see? It's when you put it in your hand, the little Vaseline, and you make a little roll and ball, just like that. And now, I'm gonna go ahead and push it down. Remember when you get a lot of bubbles? You hate bubbles, eh? I do too. This is what you need. Ready? I have it 2 seconds. All right, after this, of course, this molar right here is not gonna be in the picture, and this premolar is not gonna be in the picture, so I gotta remove it. And immediately, I sit it down in this articulator, like that. What I normally do in the patient's mouth, I ask the patient, can you close? And you get the occlusion down as well. Okay? So remember I put Vaseline? The Vaseline is for this, to lift it. Matrix away. Check the occlusion one more time. Done. Now, the next part is tricky, and it's gonna take you a little practice. We're gonna go ahead, put water in the PFI, and we're gonna lift it using the flat part, just like that. Boom. So notice the high quality inside. So I can leave it alone and I can trim this thing away, but seriously, I don't want to spend my time trimming. So I use a scissors and I start cutting things away, just like that. Especially the proximal areas, that's especially. Buccolingual you can always trim away, but the buccolingual is what I call undercuts. So you want to get rid of those undercuts right there. Now, you can do is put in water. Put it back in the typhoon and let it sit. Of course. Right there. And let it sit down. At this point in time, you got to keep a finger in buccolingual, and the proximal teeth are going to keep the provisional in place. The question will be, can I take it one more time? Sure. You can take it one more time, put in water, and leave it alone. Check the bite again. Press hard in the mesial and distal, buccolingual, and it's done. Pencil. So when I get to trim, thank you. When I get to trim, this is all set already.
Here's the pencil.
Thank you. When I get to trim, I'm gonna mark these areas here with the pencil and here. Do you know what it means that? Those are the contacts and those you don't want to touch. So this one probably needs a little bit more time, and just leave it inside the mouth and let it set in the zone. The bite is checked, so I don't see any discrepancy in this bite. This bite is checked. So now it's time to pull it and mark it again. Here, one point, another point, and I start looking in my marking configuration, and I start lining up where it's gonna be. So when you start trimming at the beginning, keep the extension to the gingival level. I know, if this is the tooth, the prep is right here, and the gingival level is lower. So it's about 1 millimeter, the difference. If you trim to the gingival level, you'll have some positive error, so you'll be overextended. And that's okay, you can always trim it back up and get it to the point that you need it. So when you mark it like this, like I'm marking right now, what I'm saying to you is mark it to the gingival level, because the actual margin is right there. So overextend you, just overextend it. Don't be afraid. When you overextend it, then the second time, you're gonna use very low speed to get close to where it's gonna be your goal. Now, if you're going into my competency or in real life, I'd rather to be overextended a little bit, to be underextending and to have a hole and potential food getting inside the tooth, between the tooth and the provisional. So if you had to be a little bit overextended, it's fine. Underextended is not acceptable. All right? If you have any questions, come and get me, and I can do the same demo in your station.
Oh, could you do the trimming also here?
I don't have auto.
Here.
Right here.
There you go.
Nice.
Have your own